but when you're living under 6 months of darkness, of the morose sadness of the clouds, like Northern Europe has the sun to look forward to. So it's Hi, I'm Sean Basie with the Facetious Guide, and we're going to talk about my favorite time of year to be in Brussels, the summer. Now, when I say it's a time of year, it's like a traveling time of year, because sometimes the summer hits in October for 1 week, sometimes it hits in May for 1 week, maybe you get lucky in April for 1 week, and then that's about it, because the rest of the time it's just kind of cloudy and dreary and rainy. But you know, that's life in Brussels, isn't it? But yeah, to be serious though, in the summer after May 1st and then all the way until September, it's really cool because you have guinguette season. Now, what a guinguette is, we have to go back in time a little bit. So in Paris in the 17th century, there was a little guinguette movement, and what was going on was that Paris was already getting too expensive to do anything in. So it's not just a problem of today. It was a problem like 300 years ago too, when like Parisians couldn't afford anything. So one of the things they would do back then is they would kind of leave town. And here we had trains starting to get popular and being able to move people en masse for cheap. So people were leaving town and they would go and find a nice little beautiful place near a river, and said they'd set up the French equivalent of a German beer garden, which is a wine garden or a guinguette, and this was named after a specific wine that they had. It was a Gauguin, which was it was kind of like a swill wine, like a super cheap, kind of bad wine. But yeah, it was super cheap, so people could afford it. So they just go out there on like a Sunday, and this was a working class people, not like the rich aristocracy. They would go out and just party and have fun. Might have a band, some accordion, some and all that jazz and that fun stuff. So they'd party out there, and then that became called a guinguette, because that's where they were drinking the Guingamp wine. And that tradition continued on, and now if you go to Paris today, it's basically been replaced by the tradition of buying a cheap bottle of wine at Carrefour and going down to the Seine and just having a bottle on the river, which is really nice too. If you're ever in Paris, that's a good way to spend the evening, because that's what the locals do. Never mind the overpriced bars. But in Brussels, so they picked up this culture, this guinguette culture as well, but in a slightly different fashion. And it's only like a 30-year-old tradition in Brussels, when you had this company called Guinguette Parc. And they decided to open their own guinguettes, trying to revive that old atmosphere of like socialization and community and for the Brussels version, like sustainability and community are both big aspects of the guinguette, and of the Bruxellois guinguette, which is of course different from the Parisian version because it's not in a secluded river out of town, but the Brussels ones are right in town. They're in the big parks and they're put around. Sometimes they have bands playing, sometimes they don't. When I first moved in, we were living right across from a guinguette, and that's actually one of the reasons we chose that apartment at the Parc Cinquantenaire. Like, we wanted that atmosphere, and you could hear the jazz music flowing in because they'd have a little jazz band playing, and it was great that first summer we were there, and the second summer, and then I guess somebody complained about the live music, and so they had to shut down the live music. It was really kind of disappointing, because it was nice just to sit on our balcony listening to it and having our own guinguette. Because Brussels guinguette is not a cheap version of drinking. It is an average version of drinking, and they have typically really great burgers, especially the one in the Cinquantenaire, the Chez Maurice. That one is really great burgers typically. I liked eating there. It was great to go with my kid as well. My kid and my wife, we could make a night out of it, and we didn't have to worry about the kid needing to run around and making lots of noise, because there you are outside in a park. That's what you're supposed to do anyway, right? So another one opened up last year in Parc Cinquantenaire, and if you go to the arches, the colonnade next to the arches. Sorry, if you're looking from the old town to the arches, they'll probably have set up by now what looks like a scaffolding. It's not construction. It's actually a stairs you can go up to, and there's a beer garden inside that colonnade, which is really cool too. So check that out. It's got an amazing view, and it's got a really nice gallery thing. So it's like you're in a historic area. And really, now that I'm talking about it, these guinguettes seem to have nothing to do with the Parisian version of the guinguette, the original guinguette. But whatever, that's how it goes. That's how tradition goes. Often it gets completely disconnected from the source of that tradition. Like it is the Bruxellois guinguette has nothing to do with the Parisian guinguette other than the name and the drinking part and the having a nice time part in the nature and then semi-nature. Yeah. So there you go. Now my favorite ones I mentioned are Chez Maurice, not like the Chez Tipi, but also Georges-Henri has a really cool. Actually, Georges-Henri itself is a really cool park. Like Georges-Henri used to be a cemetery, and they moved out all the dead bodies, one hopes, and they turned it into a park. But one of the cool or weird or morbid or aspects of this park is that the sidewalks are all made from the gravestones. So you're walking along the gravestones. You can still see the etchings of the names and the years of the dead. Not really sure why they didn't take the gravestones with them. People pay a lot of money for those gravestones, but yeah, whatever. Why not just walk all over them, as you do? No, I mean, do people? No, I don't think people are supposed to walk on gravestones, typically, but it is a sidewalk now, so whatever. And if you have kids, it's got one of the cooler playgrounds in Brussels, I think, because they're gigantic slides, tube slides that just twist around. It's really cool. Brussels has a lot of cool parks and cool playgrounds. I might add, like it's hard to beat Brussels playgrounds. All well maintained, well built, well designed. Unlike what I was talking about last week, in Tbilisi, I do miss Brussels playgrounds. Anyways, so yeah, at the Georges-Henri Parc, there's a really nice beer garden there too. They have good food, good drinks, so it's a good place too. There's other ones spread throughout, and actually, if you go to my blog, I have a map, link to a map. You can just click on there, and you can find your nearest guinguette if you're visiting Brussels. Now, there's also 2 cool beer gardens in Parc Bruxelles that are not guinguettes. They're open year-round. And one's called Radio Cafe, and they actually have their own radio station, and they're playing off their own radio station that you can find on their website and listen along as you like if you're not there. And they have kind of a cool setup because those are like, got tree trunks are the chairs, so that's comfortable. And then there's Woodpecker. They're kind of a chain restaurant, but really delicious. Like they do great burgers, great waffles. Like their regular chains have awesome waffles. They're like hipster waffles, I call them. My favorite is like with a creamy mushroom sauce on top. They're really, really delicious. But yeah, so definitely try that if you're visiting. The Woodpecker one is more of a traditional looking beer garden, and definitely a beer garden because they're serving beer. You can get wine, okay? This is another disconnect from that Parisian guinguette because they're not even serving the guinguette, the can. I wonder if those are connected etymologically. What do you think? I don't know. By the way, if you haven't clicked like or subscribe, here's your chance to do it now. So another comment on Brussels weather. So I was living a long time in Denver, and like we have this like sunshine every day. Okay, so it's great, okay, but then it's not that special. But when you're living under 6 months of darkness, of the morose sadness of the clouds, like Northern Europe has the sun to look forward to. So it's really cool. Like when sun is just the normal, then everybody has a normal life. But when it is not the normal, when there is sun and an end to the ceaseless rain, then everything blossoms and people rush outside, and it becomes a giant party, like in praise of the sun. So it's pretty cool, and the guinguettes will fill up absolutely. So you want to plan for those sunny days if you see it in weather. But one thing to keep in mind about the weather, even if it says 62% chance of rain, okay, that means it's definitely going to rain. Because that means 62%, like they do weather a little bit differently. Like they don't have an official, they don't say this officially, but they do it a little differently. It's actually 62% of the day that's raining. And so keep that in mind. If it's 33% chance of rain, actually it's 33% of the day. Like it's 100% gonna rain. It's just 33% of the day it will rain. So that's my advice when looking at Brussels weather. Keep that in mind. Bring a raincoat. No matter what you do, bring a raincoat. So that's all I want to tell you about today. It was the guinguette culture. It's time to get outside and get to drinking. And it's great to bring kids to, very kid friendly. They're always in parks. You always have playgrounds to go to. It's a good meal right there. And also, if you're doing the Parc Cinquantenaire or if you're going to Parc Bruxelles to incorporate some drinking, also consider incorporating one of my tours. Okay, I have a tour starting in Parc Cinquantenaire that ends over at the European quarters, and you can easily just keep walking to Parc Bruxelles, or you can eat at Parc Bruxelles and do one of my tours that starts in Parc Bruxelles and ends up over in the House of Justice. That's your call. The link is down below, and have a great day. Ciao.